Welcome to the Natural Selection Lab from PhET Interactive Simulations. To begin the simulation, click the play button in the middle of the screen. Then click Lab. You will notice that you start off with a single rabbit in a field. You have an area where you can add mutations, control environmental factors, and then these selections here allow you to control what is shown on the graph. You will need to select your graph to proportions. You are then going to be changing the fur color. Please notice that if you click on the images on the left-hand side, you will create a dominant mutation. The right-hand side will create a recessive mutation. You can also change the climate that your rabbit is in. You will need to use this at some point during your application activity. Wolves will be added by clicking the box beside the word wolves. Notice there is also a generation counter. There will be specific times at which you are to introduce the wolves, so be certain to keep an eye on that generation clock so you add them at the appropriate time. Before beginning to add any mutations, click Add Mate, and then select the appropriate mutation you have been instructed to add. Keep a close eye on the generation clock, ensuring that you click wolves at the appropriate time. You can also see data here on your graph. As each generation is completed, the graph will advance, showing you the start and end of generation frequency for the various traits. When you are looking at the fur, it is possible to click off the ear and teeth and look only at the fur data. If at any point you pause your simulation by looking at your data, just click the play button to resume the simulation. Once you have reached the appropriate time to introduce the wolves, you will simply click the wolf button. Then allow the generations to continue until you have reached the endpoint specified in your application activity. You may then pause the application activity and look at the results on the graph. Additional changes may be instructed. Notice you can also change settings for the ears, giving the rabbit lop ears instead of upright ears, and change the length of their teeth. You can also change the food texture and the availability of food within the generations. Please follow all instructions in your application activity regarding which mutations, environmental factors, and which climate your rabbits should be experiencing.